If you're a fan of triangles, space, animals, and animals in space, well, Nintendo's got the game for you. In 1993, Nintendo would really try their hand at 3D video games with a special space shooter. At the time, not a lot of 3D games actually used 3D models, for example the original Doom. But change was on the horizon, as Star Fox was the first Nintendo game to use polygonal graphics. Now, I love Star Fox, hell I even bought Starlink just to get an R-Wing. But I didn't play the series until Star Fox Adventures, which is a whole nother can of worms. So as usual, we're going to this blind, and beware of spoilers. Once the game starts up, there's this charming section where you can choose the different control schemes and test them out, and then you can go to a training area where you can practice your synchronized barrel rolls. Once that's done, you have 3 routes you can choose from to get to the big boss Andross. Routes are labeled 1 through 3, with 1 being the easiest, and since it's our first playthrough, we went with 1. Now the story is pretty straightforward.
Good luck.
There's a bad guy named Andross, he starts an invasion, now it's up to an elite team to take him out before chaos and all war breaks loose. Now there's something about this opening that just gives me the chills. Maybe it's the music, or it's the fact that you're a part of an elite strike force. It just gets the kid inside of me hyped up. Of course, you play as Fox, the charismatic leader, and with you, you have Falco, Peppy, and Slippy the Toad. While it's super fun to have these wacky teammates talk to you during a mission, they're kinda a pain in the butt. Instead of being an elite team, it's more like you're playing babysitter, because you're their leader, and it's your responsibility to keep them safe. Star Fox is a on-rail shooter, so you can't control where you go, but you can kind of move around to dodge obstacles, or in my case, dodge them poorly. Other than that, you can speed up or slow down, and you can mash the shoot button to blow up as much stuff as you can. And finally, you have the boss, which is usually some geometric nightmare from math class, as you try to burn it down as fast as possible by shooting it in the flashing weak spots. At the end of each level, you are graded on how well you did based on the percentage of things you blew up, and the health of your teammates will also affect your score. Moving on to level 2, we enter the asteroid fields and the space levels, and this is where the game gets kinda rocky. And not to hate on the graphics too much, these space levels can kind of be a little disorienting, especially with the graphics, but what you can do is you can transition to a first-person perspective. This will make the game a little bit easier as you now have a targeting reticule when you're in first person, but it's hard to judge where your ship is in relation to everything else, which means you either sacrifice precision or maneuverability. There is an awkward animation when switching perspectives, which totally got me killed, but it wouldn't be so bad if changing was quick and snappy, but you had to go through that every time. For the most part, I stuck to playing the game in third person. Maybe it's just because I'm used to playing other Star Fox games like that. But I will say these space missions have a really cool segment where you are flying through a ship, dodging obstacles, and you have to get to the core and blow it up. This was a super cool moment, but kind of ruined by Slippy needing help again. Now you only have 3 lives, so if you die 3 times, it's game over. Fortunately, it looks like we have 1 continue. In actuality, you can earn up to 3 continues based on your score. Of course I didn't know that while I was playing, so let's just say my palms were getting a bit sweaty while I'm spaghetti. The second boss is pretty unique in that you can freely strafe around it, but we blow it up with a Nova Bomb, and we move on to the third, which is a Spider Beyblade, which you have to blow up all of its legs to shoot its core. In the final stretch, we arrive at Venom, where we fight one last space snake and end up chasing it down to stage 6, the surface of the planet Venom. Of course, being the final stage, things start to ramp up as there are a ton of things and obstacles being thrown at you. This was the funnest stage so far, and through some space miracle we ended up beating the boss with 0 lives and a little bit of shield. At this point I probably had another continue, but I didn't know that of course, so I was getting a little nervous. Of course it's not over yet, we still need to defeat Andross, So we dive into his not-so-secret base, where fortunately we find one last small health pack before the final fight. Now, if this is your first rodeo in the Star Fox universe, Andross usually appears as a giant face composed of these white plates or platforms that he constantly spits at you, and he's shooting lasers and you gotta shoot him in the eye. And he'll also occasionally try to swallow you up and suck you in. Kinda gross, but this is a endurance test. So once you finally blow up both of his eyes, you'll be able to shoot his core. I'm not positive if you can kill him or not in that first cycle when he's vulnerable, but he'll eventually reform, but you just rinse and repeat and eventually blow him up. While it seemed like they didn't do much, you and your squad fly off into space. That is, if you decide to save them throughout the game. In the end, you also get a report card telling you how well you did in each stage, as well as give you one final score.
Come in, Cornelia.
This is Cornelia, Pepper speaking. Congratulations on a job well done.
Roger. I'm heading back to Cornelia.
The credits roll and you get a quick summary of all the bosses you defeated. And while Star Fox on the SNES has its charm and is a big piece of gaming history, the game doesn't always run or play great, and the graphics take some getting used to. But if this is your thing, there's still 2 other routes you can play, as well as plenty of secrets. But personally, I think I've had my fill. But as always, thanks for watching, subscribing would be awesome, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye bye.